What's up, guys? ZiSotto here, and today we're taking a first look at the new patch notes, at the new god, and I am super excited for that because it's Jomungandr. But first, we're gonna get blasted with some infinite CR push. I don't know if it's SLOTH for you guys, so I'm gonna check that out a little bit here. Yeah, seems to be alright. Okay. I have not had any sleep for over 24 hours, so if I seem a little messy, a little drowsy in between, forgive me. That looks like a skin straight off League of Legends, by the way. And yeah, I hope the patches keep me awake. I hope they're crazy enough to keep me awake. Okay, that skin is dope. Chang'e has so many good skins. Wait, is this another Artemis skin? Come on. We even have one that themed like that already, I think. Oh, it's Skadi. Never mind. No, then it's cool. Then it's actually very cool. And she doesn't have one like that. Hey, World Serpent. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for Jomungandr. God, my hair looks messy.
Welcome in, everybody. It's the World Serpent Update Show. I'm Agra. I'll be your host for what is going to be a doozy of a show. We got a lot of stuff, as we always do, but in this update in particular, we've got an absolute ton of balance changes. You'll be hearing those pretty soon. Some Project Olympus Okay, let's go to the next part.
Nice.
Project Olympus updates is what I'm supposed to say, and a bunch of other good stuff, and some great skins. You got a little bit of a preview there. We're going to go into those in just a minute as well, but don't forget, this is also the update where we're going to show you Jomungandr, a god that I've been thinking for literal days on how to describe this to you guys, and without using like a really dumb voice, but I can't. So here goes. He's kind of dummy big. Like, he's real big. You guys are going to like him.
Okay.
But first, we got to go over some of the skins you're expected to see here in this World Serpent Update show. And we'll start with Deathbringer King Arthur. This one is looking really cool, and there's a cool way you're going to get Deathbringer King Arthur.
I like that.
So make sure you stay tuned later on in the show. A promotion that
I like
you guys,
a dark King
really
Arthur
excited
theme.
about. He's going to be spinning all over the place and looking good while doing it. Next up, Star Force Neath. A really, really cool card art just in general. I love this card art right away. It's just a Switch skin. And I'm excited to see it in game as well.
Like the second version
one,
of...
again, another promotion that I
World
think you
Weave or
guys
something?
are going to like if you're at home and like getting skins pretty easily. Dragon Prince Naja, also on the docket for today.
Oh, wait, this is Naja. Okay, this is actually
As a
sick.
big hockey guy, it's going to be tough for me to not use the Playmaker Naja, but this might just get me off of that one. Really, really cool.
Nice.
And the dragon does indeed have a name. I've confirmed it, but you're going to have to wait and see on that later.
The dragon from Mulan?
Seer Opwash. I saw some effects of this skin a little bit early. I'll keep it real with you guys, and you're going to like it. I can say that with pretty convincing amount of confidence. He is so cool. Just so cool. Wolfsbane Skadi gonna be in this update as well. Skadi,
I so thought it was an Artemis skin. I'm so glad it's not, but
woodsy,
I still thought it was.
I'd say, and of course, Caldi are looking very woodsy. Normally, my dog gets a lot of leaves on her, like going outside and playing in the woods, but not quite that many. Caldi has a pretty unique look to him this time around, and Spellbound Chang'e gonna be in the World Serpent update as well.
Skins are definitely
She's gonna hear her
really
enemies
good here.
coming pretty easily.
Hope the rest of the changes
She's
too.
got really big ears. It'll be pretty easy for her. But first, before we go into a little bit more in depth on those skins and some of the community updates, and of course Jomungandr, we've got to go over some of the Project Olympus updates and the balance section, which is going to be pretty hefty today. So strap in, because it's Hindu Man and Pon Pon.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Yeah, and it's me and Pon Pon back again for Season 6. It's all been going on. Pon, tell me a little bit about what's happened in Season 6 so far and what the adjustments are, what we're looking at here today.
So I think it's really interesting. Season 6 has come out. People have been messing around with all the new things, interact with them, and some of them have been a bit difficult to interact with. Totem of Ku was a big one. People were fighting it over early, but then it kind of falls off and being able to take it because it's too tanky. Well, that's because of a bug, and we're fixing that stuff. Also, Elixir Speed is something that we wanted to see people mess around with. A bit too difficult to buy into. So we're looking at a lot of those things that are new to the season and balancing those, as well as a few other spicy changes.
Okay, we'll start things off with the Project Olympus stuff first of all. Now, I believe this is planned patch for tomorrow, it says here, to address issues in the Season 6 update so far. So these are the things that should be in the patch tomorrow. Updated
so it's like
Chernobog's ult FX to look differently from the CC immunity.
yes.
Updated a lot of missing characters.
Yes. Thank you, Todesberg.
Turned Mercury back on after fixing his ult, causing players to be facing sideways.
That was actually really funny.
Is that what happened?
Well, there's a pretty good video of Sylvanus.
No more
just turned this way.
golden churn. Now it's gonna be blue golden churn.
it's very weird looking.
The crab walk. Okay. So that's Mercury back in action. Should be tomorrow. Also fix an issue for crossplay. VGS button inputs show up as plain text in chat for other platforms.
Fixed.
Big one. That,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people complain about the fact that it was just so long.
Yeah, you'd see like
That's
two
a bit
lines,
messy.
and then you'd see, okay.
Yep. It does show you how often the Xbox players, though, how many buttons they've got to push console
yeah.
players sometimes to just get a VGS
And
line
they're
in there.
fast, man. They will input
know.
those super quick.
If they spent more time playing it, you know, they might even be causing more problems. After that, it's also fixed random announcer pack not working on consoles. There you go.
Yep.
Don't know why you've got that. My voice pack's already on there. Just go use my announcer pack. You don't need another one. Won't get the camera.
Sorry, I just
Won't
realized
get
how
that
quiet
one.
they are. I have to
Full
turn it
notes
up
on
again.
this, though, on the update tomorrow will be released when this patch note goes live tomorrow morning. So straight as this patch does go live, I'll be well at 10 AM tomorrow. I've got
Yep.
down here. You will get an update of all the stuff that's been changed for that. Other, though, Project Olympus stuff that will be coming in this patch that we're talking about here today is going to be fixing an issue where Match of the Day descriptions would not appear on the play screen. Okay? As well as users will be able to send friend requests to players that are offline. I didn't know that. That was an interesting one.
Yeah, that was just
That was
you should be
so
able to do that,
weird.
and you couldn't do it, and so we're gonna make it so you can do it.
Next up, we're going to look at Siege Towers. Now have icons in Death Recap, top stats, and objective bars. Explain that one for me,
Yes.
real quick.
So Siege, specifically the icon, like we've
Oh,
done
Siege
a lot of
mode, okay.
yeah. So there's a lot of iconography changes that we've done over the years that Siege just didn't have, and so we're making it more clear as to what's going on at various given times.
Gotcha. Bottom bar on console updated for clearer feedback for you all as well. And Conquest indicators have been added to make it more clear when a team kills an objective.
Yeah, so if you killed Gold Fury, there's supposed to be like an accolade that pops up, and it wasn't doing that, as well as like making sure it displays like, hey, it was the Primal Fury, or it was the Oni Fury.
Gotcha. So now it's going to display that for whose team got it as well.
Yep.
Nice to see on that. Other stuff, moving on to deserter penalty updates. This is
Let's
a bit
see
of
what it looks like.
a long read, so I'll just read through it and Pon can explain if we need it. This system is being updated to go easier on players who made one-time mistakes, but to be much more punishing on repeat offenders. So
Yes.
Deserter is now going to be changed.
Nice.
Deserter reset time increased from 1 day to 5 days. First deserter penalty will come down. It was 30 minutes. It's now going to be only 10 minutes for your first deserter. Second deserter penalty, however, has been decreased as well from 60 minutes to just 30 minutes. But then I believe it's changing.
Yes,
That's where it gets
now
longer.
it gets more intense.
So if you desert 3 times across those 5 days, it'll go from a 1 hour penalty to a 4 hour penalty. And if you're fourth deserter, it's going to be 4 hours to a whole day. It used to be 4 hours if you desert 4 times. It's not going to be a whole day
That's
if
fair.
you desert after your 4th time.
If your
And
internet's
these
that
reset
unstable, you just better
every
fixing it
5
every
anyways.
5 days. So consistently leaving games to try, because you don't like your team comp or something, you're going to get punished heavier.
Yeah, the big thing here is the one-off connection. Like, so I'm playing, I have a pretty stable connection, and then I have a disconnect. My ISP goes out. But being banned for 30 minutes is pretty rough, and so we
Sure.
want to make sure that's really lenient. It's only 10 minutes. If it's just a one-off thing, but if you're consistently having this happen, if you're consistently disconnecting, if you're consistently leaving a match intentionally, it is ruining the game experience for 9 other people.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that it's appropriately punished, so that like, hey, you should be sticking it out. Like,
Sure.
I've had games with team comps that are all 500s and we've won. It's fun. It's great. It's A+. Stick
Playing
it
that
out.
game out. F6 at 10, boys. That's it for the deserter changes. Actually, one of any additional deserter penalty applied after the 4th one will be the same as the 4th. So if you desert for the 5th time, you'll get another day. 6th time, another day of
Yes.
deserter as well. So make sure you're not leaving games.
Whoa.
If your internet's
Oh, there.
suffering some problems, your ISP,
Getting my
maybe
Twitch
just
deserter
give
right
it
now.
a little bit of a break before you keep trying to queue up after your first or second try. Moving on then to actual changes in the game. I'm going to start off with some Conquest changes, specifically the Totem of Ku, one of the
Yes.
newest additions to the solo lane. And this one's going to have, I think, is a really good adjustment for Mod, because he fixed an issue where Totem would gain significantly more health per kill than intended.
Yes.
Oh,
Than
so
intended.
was
it was
supposed to be...
it was supposed to be like 200, 400, 600,
Right.
800, and it was doing more like 200, 500, 1100.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
1900.
impractical.
Because after like the first
I mean,
few,
I
you
haven't
don't
had the
really
chance
do
to play
Just
it,
in
but-
time.
It was just scaling out of control, and so we fixed that. We're going to keep our eye on it to see if we need to do any more adjustments, but this should be the intended pace. It's much less than what it currently is doing in live. We'll see how that feels. It should better match when you like level up, get more abilities, get more power, get more items. It should roughly match that power increase.
And on top of that, the Totem of Ku now will have a couple of changes too. Can no longer be targeted or affected by God-only abilities.
No more Neath ulting
So like
it.
Bellona as well?
No, so that is, this one specifically, Neath could ult it.
Oh, really?
There's a few other abilities that
Or
kind of
while some
interact with like, Dominate
berserkers
stuff, but like Neath could actually target
Yes,
it
fair
and ult
enough.
it.
Cool.
And that is sometimes kind of funny, and sometimes also it just takes your Neath shot.
But to be fair, like, Neath could just be getting it for your team on cooldown.
Yeah, like, if no one's taking it and you're in the solo and you're like, man, I really want that mana regen, you could snipe that. No longer the case.
The Totem of Ku can no longer be attacked when it is in the active
That's
as well.
the Bellona thing.
Nice.
That's
the
the kind
Berserkers.
of Berserker shield. You just start
Bellona
smacking it in
3.
between waves to get health
Extra
back.
health back.
Unintended, and we're fixing it.
So when it's down, it's not targetable anymore. Okay, that's the Totem of Ku. We're moving on to the next change, and this one for you junglers out there. Hold your horses before we start panicking straight away, okay? But speed buff
something
is
bad
getting
again.
a nerf this patch. Another one, technically, because it's been a
Yes.
couple in a row, I guess.
Yeah, so speed buff used
What?
did it used to be like 20%?
It was fast.
And then we made it so it's 10%, and you get some of the
That's
power
just-
or some of the speed of it when you kill minions. We're getting another nerf, and then we have an adjustment right after this that kind of
And that's
recovers
why I
that.
said,
So
just
it's a combination of
goes away.
things.
So, speed buff, first of all, decrease
More
speed
for killing
buff
minions
from
again?
10% to 5%.
Yes.
So there's going to be 5% movement speed you're going to get from the speed buff now.
Yes.
We're going to go straight into items, though, because the first item on here is Assassin's Blessing.
Oh.
We shall explain this a little bit more. And Assassin's Blessing is getting some changes, too. We've changed the evolution
That's a
bonus
nerf?
from 10 penetration. It's now going to be 5 penetration and 5 movement
The
speed.
nerf.
So let's talk about this in a vacuum then of the speed buff and the Assassin's Blessing. Technically, earlier on in the game, the speed buff's only going to be 5% plus the extra percent you get from keeping the jungle camps going.
Yeah, I get the idea.
However,
They want to
to
prevent
get the extra 5%
snowball on one side,
but
but
you need to evolve your blessing first.
you take
So
away
when
the
you're gonna
pen
buff
as
together,
well.
You're going to still be moving at the same speed as you would have been.
It's such a
So the big thing here is early jungle pressure with that 10% movement speed plus the amount that you got per camps was just very difficult to deal with. You could rotate very effectively, you could farm very effectively, and when you went to go gank, it was very difficult for anyone to get away from you. We want to increase that opportunity because early game movement speed is so powerful. But we feel like 10% later on is fine.
Right.
Just 10% right at the start of the game is a bit too strong.
When no one's got boots or anything
Yeah.
like that as well.
Once people start building boots, it's fine to have that
This is
movement
so
speed,
annoying.
but until then, it's hard to give that much movement speed to the jungler. So we're turning that down and giving it to the jungler when they evolve Assassin's Blessing. Additionally, Assassin's Blessing, whoever evolved it first had a massive advantage. The difference of 10 pen when it comes to like,
Assassin's
fighting
Blessing is
huge.
such a fast
So we want to make
crutch.
that disparity a little bit less as well.
Compared to every
so
other
this
starter,
tones
it's
down the
just
difference between having it finished and not, as well as make sure that you have the movement speed you're used to as a jungler once you get it evolved.
Okay, it's going to take some adjustment then for some junglers out there to get used to that, and even the laners to know what the rotation.
so much more fun when you could start like Bluestone or Death Toll plus Bombas. Even though everyone get Bombas, then it's a
Moving on
nice
to Celestial Legion Helm up
Yep.
next. This one's going to get a bit of a nerf, and not surprising really. It's been
What a
constantly
shocker.
hidden away as a secret one for a while. It's been very strong. But
Dynasty
Angle
is gonna
picking
get
it
better
up,
and better,
so
I'm telling you.
You're going to be nerfing it. It's going to go up in cost, I should say, from 2050 gold to 2150, so 100 gold increase there. But not only that, we're going to decrease the physical protections gained per stack. It was 10, now going to be
Dynasty
7 per
playing.
stack.
It's coming back.
It was incredibly cost efficient, and we saw this item and we saw very like specific situations where it was picked up, and we also had very high level concerns of it just being too strong, but no one was really picking up. It wasn't really on anyone's radar. But now
Freya.
that Season 6 is hit, we've seen more and more people
Had it all the
understanding
time.
that this item is very efficient. It basically makes you immune to like jungle camp ganks, or like if you're in the solo lane, you could be a mage and build this, and it's very difficult for anyone to ever box you. It was just too stat efficient, and so now that people realize it is that powerful, we're going to increase
About
its cost to
time.
kind of match that
Took
power
them
and
ages.
decrease the amount of protection it provides again to kind of
How long?
match
How long
really
have I
what
been
price
praising
you
this
should.
item? Like, if you look back
Next
on my
up
channel,
is
how long have I
another
been
price
praising this
change.
item?
It's going to be Elixir of Speed, one of the newest things added to the game, where you can now sell your boots, technically, and then get the movement speed from Elixir of Speed. It's going to come down in cost. It was set at 2,000. It's now going to be 1,500. Pon, I always liked this item. I personally
Yes.
felt it was on the expensive side. It was almost like not worthwhile. You needed too much gold to be able to invest in a new item to sell them.
Well, yeah, we talked about this a lot internally, and even when it came to PTS about like what its price should be. And it does give you the opportunity to have a 6-item build, a true 6-item build, which is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Just make it
but when
depend on
compared to
buying
the
and
3K
selling boots
Elixir for
instead
a
of
lot of
this.
damage dealers, that one was a bit more enticing first before you got the 6-item slot. For tanks, it was good, but generally you don't have as much gold to get there. And so we wanted to make this item more appealing, that if you do have the gold to get the 6-item right now, you can make that decision. So decreasing the cost. It's still 1,500. You're not going to be buying this over boots, because boots gives you much more stat efficiency for the cost. But this is something that it should help it fit into more builds. People should be able to use it more often. And that was the big thing for Season 6 was this could shake up builds a lot, especially when you get to late game. And we just haven't seen that happen because games aren't going long enough and not enough gold is being accumulated for this to really come into effect. So we want to make sure that it can be purchased and can be bought.
Just have to sit with so much gold in your inventory to make it worthwhile. So Elixir of Speed, a bit of a touch there. We'll see how that works out. Next up, Bit of a change to Spear the Magus, a nerf. A lot of people have been asking for some penetration nerfs, a little bit here and there for the mage side. And Spear the Magus is getting just that. It's going to go up by 150 gold. It was 2,300 gold. It's now going to be 2,450.
Wait, that's it? The price?
Is a bit of an increase, but not only that, the penetration's going to go down. It was 15, now going to be 10.
Nice.
So overall, this item's still going to do what it was functioning to do, but it's just not going to be as stat efficient.
Yeah, so we saw even mages that couldn't make use of the passive picking this up just because it was such a cheap source of pen. And when we launched Season 6, one of the things we got as feedback was mages, which are really strong, sure, some of the items that were hit, like Soul Reaver, had an impact, but there's other items that are fundamentally causing problems, like Spear, where you can rush this and get a huge power spike early. We want to make sure that those kind of choices aren't just like deterministic. We want you to have flexibility in your builds. This will make it so that it's still a good item. It's still a good amount of pen. If you're a character that can ramp up stacks of it, you're definitely getting a huge amount of pen for a very cheap cost, but it's no longer like the best item in the slot.
Next up on the list of more items in that sort tree, Void Stone. Increase the cost of Void Stone. It was 2150.
Also, no surprise, Void Stone and Void Shield are both incredibly
the aura is coming down
price efficient.
It used to be 20 power. It's going to be 15 power now.
Yeah, so this is targeted to both mages and kind of Bruiser Guardians.
Hybrids,
particularly Bruiser Guardians were really effective with this item. It was just a bit too stat efficient. It gave them it gave them health, it gave them defenses, gave them a lot of penetration, which for their high base damages is really good. So we're toning that down, but it also meant that it was a bonus to build it because your team almost always has a mage on it, and that 20 pen going to the mage is also really good, especially when they combine that with other cheap pen sources. So it's a nerf to the item's overall effectiveness. It's still a strong item.
I like the pen nerfs. That's way overdue.
Just a little bit more expensive, and the aura.
I made a video on mage pen recently, so this is very much going in line with that as well.
Again, in terms of builds,
surprised they don't have a Void Shield along with it, but
recap now of what's been going on there on those items on your
Elixir speed is still not going to be good though. I think.
A bit of a change for Assassin's Blessing. Basically, well, would you class it as a nerf
Depends.
or adjustment?
I would say it's a nerf because
hands off, right?
Essentially technically, if your speed buff's being taken, like maybe you're losing your speed buff, it's somewhat of a buff because you get part of that speed buff. But I would say it's overall a nerf in its effectiveness, which was largely the goal. Junglers, especially a few select junglers, are really pressuring with that movement speed, and so reducing that should help them be a bit more in line.
Well, next up then, it's moving on to God Balance. And, well, looking through a few of these, it seems to be a bit of focus towards trying to increase a few of the gods that may have seen hard times.
Yes, specifically a lot of warriors are on this list. Again, Season 6, one of the stated goal was bring warriors back to
they said they might buff them more.
We have seen that, where warriors are really competing against other characters in the role. With Celestial Legion Helm, some of the mages will be falling out. Guardians can still fight effectively, but it's much more even. There's still just a few warriors that really aren't getting really into the thick of it, and specifically, we feel that they can't play the tank role effectively enough. If they want to be the front line for their team, they're not quite tanky enough to do that.
So these seem like small nudges to begin with. We'll start things off with Achilles. Radiant Glory. We're going to increase the heal on this. It was 23 to 35. It's going to be 24 to 40. So early game, small amounts. Late game, a little bit more considerable to help them out there.
Especially when you're fighting in a team fight scenario where you're able to get this more often. The damage Achilles, I'm sure people have seen damage Achilles. Doesn't really need that much of a buff, but the tank Achilles is the one that's frontline for your team looking for the setup and then the executes. That one was a bit underperforming, so the heal is going to help essentially his total effective health pool.
Okay, makes me a little bit potent. Bellona, next up, will get a bit of a buff towards her Master of War. Her passive. Increased protections from 4 protections per stack to 5 protections per stack.
Stacks pretty quickly,
so. Paper, 4 to 5 doesn't seem like much with just 1, but
when you have that much extra protection over the course of the whole game, that kind of adds up to like maybe you didn't die this time, or maybe you were able to be more aggressive because you had a little bit extra health. Those kind of small shifts that are basically constantly being applied to you the whole game have big impacts.
Okay, that's it for Bellona. Next up, Cullen, who's going to get a couple of changes here. A base, first of all, in general, increased base HP from 475 to 450.
always gets these funny changes.
Increase the base attack
cooldown of the old
from
base
38
health
to 39. Now, obviously, you know, base HP, base attack power, you still get scaling levels of HP and attack power too as time goes on. So these are just adjustments at the start of the game.
Yeah, this is mainly to kind of make his level 1 a bit more intense. If he does get the rage form, he is pretty potent, but this is to help him when he doesn't have that active yet. And it does help his like early laning phase, specifically with clear rate, being able to fight the Totem of Ku, being able to box the other opponent.
Gotcha.
Again, it's one of those things that applies basically the whole game, and so its impact is pretty impressive.
But not just that as well, the Berserk increased the
Impact
health
is impactful.
conversion from 15% of mana to 20% of mana. Obviously, he doesn't use mana, so he had that conversion in there, but this is going to be a bit more potent now if he does have to buy any sort of mana item in there.
Yeah, so Breastplate of Valor, which is a great protection item and cooldown reduction item, you're going to benefit from getting a bit more health from it. Gladiator Shield, the mana heal gets converted to a health heal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that is actually a bit more potent as well. So there's a few item interactions that will help him, and they're items that he generally wanted to build anyway.
So a bit more potency for Kukulkan. Next up, Fafnir. Bit of a love for the lad Fafnir. Yeah, I mean, we've got a new character coming out. Needs to buff some other Guardians as well, just in case. Fafnir, Curse Strength, increased base damage. It was 80 to 260. It's now going to be 100 to 260, so it's an early game ramp. I believe we'd toned that down once upon a time. I guess we're just readjusting that with the minion changes, I guess.
Interesting.
Well, it's not only just the minion changes, but it's the kind of whole history of Fafnir. A lot of other parts of his kit have been addressed. Early on, it was the damage of this ability, and then other changes have happened. We feel like we can bring this back, really highlight his strength as kind of like a brawler. Cool. He can get in there and be really aggressive support with that extra 20 damage.
Yeah.
And so the two big snakes can fight each other.
Impactful at level 1, but also, to be fair, it's a skill shot ability that's not the easiest in the world to hit unless
I've
you're
missed
callous.
many throws of that.
Of course you did. Of course you did. You would have in my game. It's mainly. That's it for Fafnir. Moving on to the next F. It's Freya.
Oh, yes.
An adjustment for Freya. Now, obviously, this is going to take a little bit of breakdown.
This might probably worth prefacing this a bit.
Go for it.
Freya got reworked.
No, really?
And the goal of that was specifically when you have a character that half her kit is stims, and she pops both of the stims, if she kills people consistently during that time, she's probably OP. If she doesn't kill people consistently, she's probably underpowered. And that was what we saw. Any tweak we made to her was put her basically in just hyper irrelevance or not being relevant. And her popularity also suffered from that. She was one of the least played gods in the game. Reworked her to make her be a bit more consistent. She can have access to her range stim at any time at a cost for mana. She can recoup that mana by meleeing. And then you have an ability stim that is a one-off that bursts. Yeah. It helped her popularity a lot, even though we've adjusted it now that her win rate feels a bit more favorable, but it still felt kind of binary in that, did I kill someone off the Woot banish into the 1-pock? Yes, well, I'm really, really strong and frustrating. If I don't do that, then I'm too weak. So we're taking some of the lessons we've taken from this rework and doing a new thing to Northern Lights where it has an ammo counter. Okay. So rather than having just a one that bursts really quickly, it's now a second stim. You pop it, you're still trying to hit skill shots, but she doesn't have two stims that she activates at once. She only has one, and the other one has her consistent range damage.
So it's like the old Freya, only that is shots instead of time.
So this should put her in a place that feels somewhat like old Freya, but with a lot more room for balancing options.
Could be interesting for like power or attack builds.
Counterplay options against her.
Gotcha. Okay, so we'll break them down then. First of all, Mystic Warrior decreased self-heal on hit from 2% to 1.5%.
Yes, so and this is because Northern Light with 5 ammo shots.
Actually going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to doing like the numbers.
Making sure that that heal felt balanced with the rest of the numbers and the rest of the kits.
Northern Lights then. Northern Lights has been adjusted, as we said. Northern Lights, when activated, Freya gains 5 shots of Northern Lights. Each basic attack consumes a charge, even if that attack does not hit.
You can miss these.
So beware, you can miss this.
You used to not be able to miss this, but now you can because you have 5 of them.
And the damage has been adjusted and decreased basically from 40 to 200 is now going to be 11 to 75, but that when you spread it across the 5 shots, it's actually more, right?
So
everything.
So roughly, in the early game when you don't have much scaling, because the scaling was reduced from 40 to 10%, when you don't have that much scaling, you only need about 3 shots to break even to what you were doing before. In the late game, when you do have a lot of magical power, you need really closer to 4 shots hit to break even. And again, that's 4 shots that are happening, not in an immediate burst being applied to the player.
Okay, and not only that as well, the slow duration has been adjusted on this ability too. It was 2 seconds, it's now going to be 1.25 seconds. But if they keep hitting you with the 5 shots, then technically you know it's 1.25 seconds after your last attack.
Yes, and so if they whiff, you're likely to get the slower move, so you can keep kind of avoiding. So Freya needs to keep landing those shots. Again, there's a lot of giving more skill to the Freya player to actually land those shots.
Reward and accuracy.
And there's more reward for juking those shots. You're not going to just immediately get bursted, even if Freya misses 4 shots, the 5th shot lands and bursts you for 40% scaling. Now she has to actually hit you with all these if she wants to get that damage out.
Last thing on Northern Lights as well, charges last indefinitely of these 5 shots. Ability will go on cooldown when all are consumed.
Yes. It's just Medusa, basically.
If I use 3 to clear a minion wave and do a bit of poke, say for example, I need to fire off the next 2 to get the cooldown to get my 5 shots back up again.
And that mimics things like
basically.
Medusa. Viper Shot.
Think about Viper Shot, think about Hachiman's one. I always forget his name.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. But that's that. And then Aurora Blade as well. Bit of an adjustment there. Reduced mana cost. It was 20 to 40. It's now going to be 14 to 30. So that's come down because there's a stim that's just going to empower shot.
Yes, so it's come down because, well, a few things. In other modes,
he's snoozing away.
It's difficult to find targets to melee consistently. And so this helps just in that situation in general. But now because we're saying, hey, if you pop your 1, we're expecting you to fire 5 shots. If you're trying to do range shots to poke someone, that's 5 more Aurora Blade charges that you're using. So that's going to be, instead of, it would be 20 times 5 for 100 mana to use this ability. We want to make sure that that's a bit more reasonable, considering the pace of, we're essentially demanding more shots from you.
That makes some sense. Hachiman is next on the list, and I've just mentioned him. It's actually going to be his Heavenly Banner that gets a bit of a change here, a bit of a buff in this direction. We're going to increase the damage of this. It was 75 to 295. It's now going to be 85 to 305, so about 10 at all ranks.
Yeah, this was a change we made a while
It's
back.
fair. Sometimes it feels
actually,
weird.
This is a revert on that number.
Right.
He was very strong at boxing, and the lane dynamics have shifted, and the metas have kind of shifted, and he's fallen out of favor.
And the minions got buffed.
Yes, and so we're bringing some of that power back to Hachiman.
Okay, so just bring him back in lane, see how he works out.
A little
with
10
that.
extra damage on the minion wave clear and poke.
See how that works out for Hachiman, make him a little bit more potent. Hercules as well. Ooh, Hercules.
Hey,
Mitigate
I predicted
wounds,
it right.
increase
That's
protection buff.
one guess
It
is
was
right.
10 to 50. It's now going to be 20 to 60. So early game, like
50
one
and
point
60 is the
wonder,
next
like
one.
most of people will do mitigate wounds. Well, you don't. You should be
Look at
back to the
myself.
second, technically.
Go
Unless you're going really aggressive and doing
I
well.
play
with your-
aggressive. I go
with your
ringed
Earthquakers.
as.
Really?
Yeah, I go ringed as Herc Arena.
Well, with that,
Great.
you're going to get extra protections at just rank 1. So it was 10, it's now going to be 20. That's a
Yes.
lot of protections early on.
Yep, there's a lot of additional protections early on. It's also just better scaling into the late game, and it also works with the ability. It's mitigate wounds. You weren't really mitigating that much.
That's true.
Now you are mitigating.
I mean, it's weird because you're not mitigating. You take the damage and then absorb it back. That's not mitigation, is it?
Yeah, it's self-restore. It's
Yeah.
kind of a form of mitigation.
Odin, next on the list. And this is the change that obviously I've not had a chance to play too much Season 6 myself just lately. But
What?
Ring of Spears is going to get a nerf here. This ability no longer applies an attack speed slow to enemies in the area.
Then
Yes.
It's a big nerf.
what does it do?
When you think about
It
it.
is a big change, but Odin's a character that has consistently been performing really well. He's been a strong pick, and that cage is the large reason why. It's already a very powerful thing. If they don't have a movement ability to escape from it, they're trapped. They have no way to self-sustain or heal
Anti-heal,
themselves. And not only that, the only option they really do have is to fight back, and they're incredibly hampered in their ability to do that. So this is just a change. to
Odin
make
is
it
not a
that
good
at least
boxer,
you
so
have
I think
some
it's
options.
fair.
If you are in that situation, you can try and turn and fight back. Now, Odin's pretty tanky as a shield. Still probably not going to go to your favor, but at
Can
least it
walk
has
out, yeah.
more opportunity to be more of a fight in the cage.
That's fair. Okay, Odin with a pretty big nerf there. Next up is Sobek on the list of god changes, and he's going to get a bit of a buff. The base stats of Sobek are going to increase. The HP was 81. It's going to go up to 86 per level.
That's
as he
quite a
levels
bit.
up. And not only that, Blessing of the Nile, we've increased the protection
100
stat
total.
from 7 to 10. Pod, I feel like we had a big thing where Sobek was played a lot in the solo lane and a lot in the the sort of solo tank role to an extent, but too potent. He got some nerfs, but we're looking to adjust him elsewhere, I guess, to try and bring him a little bit better into the support role.
Yes, so that's part of the goal. The one is
I'd like to see
Sobek
some
was so
Sobek support
strong
more,
and very
again.
limiting in the soul lane
It's really
for a
fun
long
to watch.
time. Now that the kind of dynamics have shifted, what the priority for what you do in the lane has changed, different characters are coming in. We feel it's safe that we can bring some power back to Sobek without causing him to just kind of take control of that lane again. But this also really focuses on a support role, his ability to be a frontliner. Gives him extra tankiness and it gives him extra protections, especially when he doesn't have as much gold because maybe he is playing that support role and he's building like the aura items. He now has more selfish protections, more extra health to help that, so he can dive into the enemy team and really fulfill that disruptor role.
Overall, more survivable for Sobek going into this patch. Sylvanus next on the list, and he's getting a buff too. Now
I like
this one, we'll have to word it out. We'll explain it a little bit. Wisps is the one that we're going to be focusing on here. Increase the projectile speed of Wisps from 50 to 100. This does not affect the initial
That's
release
nice.
speed, by the way.
It's very
Wisps now apply an
helpful.
additional tick right as they hit an ally or enemy.
That's
So
even more
immediately
helpful.
When they connect, you don't have to wait for that first tick to hit. It'll hit immediately. Same damage and heal as other ticks as well. And the damage will be 10 to 30, and the heal will be 15 to 35 as you scale up and level up this ability. So Wisps are going to hit quicker and also immediate damage source as well.
Immediate damage source and healing source. So
I really
in
like
general,
that change.
You're popping
That
this
is really
ability and
cool.
you were trying to have some immediate impact. If you're trying to heal your teammate, you really kind
It's
of need
a
to heal them.
non-value,
And the
like
Wisp not
non-number
took
change
long.
that changes
It
so
goes
much
up,
though.
And then it traveled really slowly, and then it hit the target, and then it waited for a little bit to do its first tick. And now it will travel quicker, and it will immediately apply a heal. So that should help Sylvanus feel like he has more ability to actually help his team quicker when he needs to, when it's like absolutely necessary.
I kind of look at it with like a Lotus Crown, where if you put the heal on them, you got to wait for that first heal tick for the Lotus Crown.
What's going on with the video? I thought my eyes were bad from the lack of sleep.
Yeah, so it overall just helps his ability to actually like directly save his teammates.
Now the fact of the speed of this is, do you reckon that's going to change him a lot? Do you reckon?
I think the extra tick will help a lot. Some of the item interactions and just generally like immediacy of heals does have a big impact. Like again, the difference between someone living in a fight and dying in a fight is massive when it comes to a teamwork game like Smite.
Yeah.
So anything that causes things or causes characters to live more often is generally going to be a good change. And I think Sylvanus needs it.
That's Sylvanus. Moving up next is Tyr. He's on the list of warrior buffs.
Wow, actually I predicted 2 of them right then.
Physical protections.
Let's hope it's not that choppy for the whole time.
18. 15 seemed kind of low.
Yeah, it was pretty low. He was.
Is it because he's missing an arm? Is that why?
I guess he has less. No, he has like a gauntlet on. I guess that counts for extra armor.
True,
yeah. He has a gauntlet on his arm. He should have had the protections. he was just low on that because he was kind of more of a brawler character, and based on his like release date when those were determined, he just had kind of different goals and different skill sets in mind.
But he's not the only change he's getting. He's also going to get a bit of love for his power cleave. He's getting more of a heal again. Increased healing on the power cleave from 25 to 105. It's now going to be 30 to 130. Now, obviously, that can hit multiple targets as well to give you a bit more of a heal.
So that's not good.
Yes, and so similarly to all the other warrior changes we made, these are things that cause you to be able to survive longer in a fight. Especially if you're building tanky, any additional health source that you're getting is going to be amplified by how much protections you have. So these changes are really targeted towards if you need to be that front line for your team, if you need to be the disruptor, you need to dive the back line and really cause them to be kind of wary to go forward. All these warrior changes have been designed to allow you to do that better.
That's Tyr. Next up is a nerf. It's Vamana. Going to be a nerf hit. Colossal Fury, the ultimate. It's only thing that's changing is you can now collide with players on this. Players can now body block you. That's basically how I should read it.
That means you can't run through Vamana to juke him anymore, though.
What exactly is it?
So when we made him pass through all targets, it really helped him. I'm sure people are seeing more Vamanas in their game. It's definitely helped him, but it caused some strangeness with both Vamana, because you could walk over players and basic attack and not be able to hit them.
Good.
So even though you're literally stomping on them, you're not stomping on them.
Right.
But also, if you're just running towards the enemy backline, you're trying to get on the hunter and like stomp him down. The Guardian couldn't stand in body block in front to like. And that's like a core component of Smite where you get in front of people and body block. That's what tanks do. And you just couldn't do that to Vamana. It felt weird. It felt kind of strange. And so we're adding player collision back in, so that way Vamana can be body blocked by so that Ymir can actually be like, no, you're not getting past me.
You can go for my wall, but I'm just too good for you.
And add more counterplay option and teamwork options to dealing with Vamana.
And that is Vamana, and that is all the gods for this week.
Towards the enemy backline, you're trying to get on.
Recap, hopefully, to show you all exactly what's been going on.
Those patch notes are actually behind. That's not any better either. That's annoying. Oh. Okay.
Mainly everything got buffed. Odin got a nerf, Vamana got a bit of a nerf, and an adjustment yet again for Freya. One day we won't adjust it, right?
I'm excited for Freya personally. Like I get definitely old Freya. I've been enjoying it so.
Cool. But you know what I'm excited for? Yorm. I don't care about anything else right now. This guy is a beast. The more time we waste, the less time you get to see him.
I want to see him without the lag.
Ryan to break down a few more things before we get to see that god reveal.
Yorm coming up soon, but first I've got Avrin and Isaiah here with me to go over some community stuff here for all of you Smite fans. We got a lot working, guys. I mean, Season 6 is kicked off. We're looking good. And Esports is coming soon, Avrin.
It is indeed. We actually just announced our SML rosters a couple days ago, and those are stacked. They're looking really good. Yeah. I'm really excited. It's gonna be good to watch this year. We also still have the Smite Combine going on. So any PC players who are interested in kind of proving their mettle on the battleground, earning some tournament prizing, and even maybe getting a spot in the SML, can participate in that tournament this weekend. And on top of that, for our console players, we have a similar circuit, the SCL qualifiers.
Yep, gotta do it. Love playing. I mean, I went through all those open tournaments back in the day. It's a grind.
And try this one.
I get it, but it's fun, you know. It's the good old days in a lot of ways, you know.
And I've gotten a lot of questions on Twitter, on Reddit, and everywhere, really. When's it starting? When is Smite Esports starting? And I can't tell you that now, but I can tell you that we'll have an announcement on Friday for all start dates for every league.
That's pretty soon. Nice. So maybe not right this moment, but on Friday, make sure you're tuned into the Smite Pro Twitter. You'll hear start dates for every league we have, SCL, SML, SPL, all that kind of good stuff. So looking forward to that. Isaiah, for your end, we've got a lot of really cool stuff going on.
Yeah, we
the
got
community
actually.
side.
I'm looking at my sheet here, and like this is like the biggest community
Yeah, you
news
got a
segment
long
that I've ever
segment.
done.
Do you need some
It's
water or
crazy.
something?
I mean, no, I was good. I got some
Okay,
water
cool.
beforehand. But yeah, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if you guys want to party up with your friends, you guys can earn bonus rewards. If you're in a party of two, you get 2 times favor worshippers and XP. And if you're in a party of 3 or more, you get 3 times favor worshippers and XP.
Okay.
So, you know, start off to the season, make sure you get those masteries up. Gonna be an awesome time.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
See, for me, when cross progression happened, I got a huge worshiper boost because
Right,
I had
yeah.
all my worshippers on Xbox and all my worshippers on PC. So I don't have that many more to grind for. I'm looking good.
You're good, man. You got
I'm chilling.
all the stars.
That's right.
Right? Yeah.
I'm killing it right there. But I mentioned it during the little skin segment that we've got a really cool promo coming up about that Deathbringer King Arthur skin. Can you give us a little more detail there?
Yeah, so we're teaming up with our friends over at Twitch to do a Twitch Prime promotion over the course of the next few months in the spring. So there are going to be 4 bundles spaced out about a month apart that you guys can claim for Twitch Prime members. The first bundle is going to be available next week, and it's going to include the limited Deathbringer King Arthur skin.
And it's loading again. Lovely. We are having some fun.
So every bundle is going to have a limited skin and some awesome profile cosmetics. So be sure, get your Twitch Prime subscriptions going on, link your Twitch account, Hyra's account to go. You can just visit Motion Goes Live, claim that loot, and you'll be good to go.
Plus, I mean, you're not only getting Deathbringer King Arthur, but you can subscribe to your favorite Twitch streamer for free.
No, you get a
every
free
30
sub
days.
to support your favorite Smite
Man,
streamers.
if only there were...
Come on.
Yeah, that's exactly who I was thinking of. Yeah, just like F. I guess. Okay, Isaiah, I wish your segment was over already. But we still got more. A lot of the awesome skins that you've seen in the previous update shows are coming to Smite pretty soon.
Yeah, so Hinduman and Pond mentioned we've got a patch going out tomorrow with all the bug fixes that are going to be coming in that patch. So with the Gadget Goblin Cupid skin and the Star Commander Bologna skin. Make sure you guys are keeping up with those bundles because the final reward, Master Soulbinder Merlin, is going to be available to all those people that purchased all the bundles in the Legend of Ken.
Oh boy.
A lot of it.
This
And
is
that card art
so
looks
cool.
sick, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm about that. I'm doing that tomorrow. First thing, as soon as servers go up, I'm going to be there trying to unlock that. And also, we've had come in and done a lot of great work for us. They helped us do some pretty specific stuff.
Yeah, we've been working actually almost nonstop with the Olympians. They've helped us nail down tons of issues with things like Spectator and Roll Queue. They've helped us out with
Man.
They helped us nail down some plans for a remodel coming later this year.
Ooh,
so
okay.
we'll have some more info on that. But definitely, we've got our first official meeting with the Olympians next week. So always be sure we'll have news for you guys on what we're working on with the Olympians going forward.
That's really awesome. And you may have noticed that normally on this update show, I'm saying, hey, it's the 6.2 update show, that kind of stuff. We're trying to move away a little bit from that because of our schedule that we're changing.
So at the beginning of the year, we kind of took some time to just take a step back and kind of reorganize our entire dev schedule, not only to kind of help us get prepped for Smite on Nintendo Switch, but to allow us to have more time for fixing bugs. And as the team is fixing all those bugs and nailing down those issues, sometimes we have to do what's called a full build, which is basically rebuilding Smite as a whole, which in turn increments our version number.
Sure.
So going forward, you guys might see, as we're doing hot fixes and patches, seeing a bump up in that version number, but all of our releases are going to coincide with names. So like we're talking about right now, this is the World Serpent update with Jomungandr, all cool skins. Be on the lookout for all of our announcements. That's how we're going to be referring to all of our content releases going forward. But things are going to feel the same. You know, we'll have that big update with balance, things like God releases, and still new content every 2 weeks.
Nice and easy to understand there. And you mentioned it during that, Isaiah. Smite free to play now.
Smite free to play on Switch. No longer need to buy that Founders Pack, although you missed out on the sweet Dragon and Priscilla.
You did miss out.
Yeah, I know, but it's so good. And Smite on Switch is like, it's changed my life a little bit.
Dude, it's so awesome.
I can just play in
So
my
much
bed.
fun.
It's so good. And we're super excited to welcome just a brand new community of Nintendo gamers to the Smite ecosystem.
Especially those gamers who might be on a bus or on a roof.
Exactly.
You know, like all the places you play Smite on Switch. In fact, we got some footage of those people playing Smite on Switch, just like you can do on your bus or your roof or anywhere, really.
Wait, I'm pretty sure we've all seen this ad. Well, I'm gonna use the refresh button here and try to get it synced on OBS. I don't know why that's not happening. That ad has been around for a while.
Team up, play God. SMITE.
Nope, it's not syncing.
On Nintendo Switch. Download for free on the Nintendo eShop today.
Oh, now it's synced.
Wow, that was a really like sick voiceover there to let you guys know that you can download for free on the Nintendo eShop.
Who was that though?
Someone really talented, Tina. I'm not really sure exactly who that
he's
was.
not on my
but
list.
Okay, that's I guess not that good one way or the other. But you do have a lot of very talented voice actors and actresses you work with in the skins department. That's what we're here to talk about. We got Tim and Brock as well alongside us. What's going on, guys? How you doing today?
Good. You?
I'm doing pretty well. I think last time I saw you, Tim, you had a boot on still.
I did, yeah.
You're doing okay?
You're slowly getting better.
Walking around?
Yeah.
Keeping away from axes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
A horror story for all horror stories that I really do not want to get into here on the update show. What I do want to get into, though, however, is this Deathbringer King Arthur skin. You just heard Isaiah talking about it. This is part of the Twitch Prime bundle coming next week.
To get that
so make sure you get
Prime.
that all sorted. This one is looking cool, and it reminds me that I should be buying Deathbringer on King Arthur, right, Tina? Like the item, the crit item.
Exactly, yes.
That'd be really good.
Yes, I realized when I was like, we should call him Deathbringer, that it might confuse the heck out of us because we have an item like that. So when we search for him now, it's just like, shit, which one is it? The item or is it the skin?
Well,
I might
you
just put an item into something and then people might be getting an item instead.
There you
of
go.
the skin, which will be very, very bad for us.
No, it'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it. That sword is definitely bringing some death, though. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, I like the animation.
This is the first like big King Arthur skin that we've done since his inception, and there's just gonna be so many abilities.
Pretty good for a Twitch.
He's got so many, and is that a tough time for that crippled little?
How is SMITE
really cool.
doing a
Is that
Twitch
tough
for
you guys on some of the art teams to work with a god like Arthur that has so many different things that all need to flow together?
How does that work? Somebody explain.
It definitely can be. Like you said, there's so many different aspects that go into this guy.
I know.
So making sure they all flow together and look really nice.
I was gonna talk
one
about this
after
really quick
another,
because
right?
I
Since he
think
combos a lot of his moves, so that's really important for us to keep on top of.
And a lot of times the animations on the base Arthur model, it's blue for the A stance, orange for the.
I think this is a high-res, a Titan deal.
Now,
the Mixer's a Titan deal.
The colors still very differentiated.
Twitch is a Titan deal, while the Mixer deal is with skill shot for the competitive league, which would be very interesting.
I feel like
because that way they can play both.
Blue and the orange, like, I guess it's red.
Both cards basically.
You don't get confused when you're playing.
That's pretty neat.
Oh, I said this combo. You know which ability you use to pull forward, which ones you have lined up.
Right.
So having that helps a lot.
Definitely, and that ultimate looking so cool still. Every time I get hit by it, I'm like, well, I'm dead now, but at least I'm doing cool stuff while I'm dead. You know?
At least I'm in the air and he's chopping me into bits.
I do really like the uniqueness to his ult. It's really cool.
There's
I like the
the lower energy ult as well, the stun stab as I like to call it. Good little combo setup there for you, for your King Arthur players. Again, this is available through a Twitch Prime bundle, so make sure you guys get that all sorted starting next week. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here for Deathbringer King Arthur.
Wahoo! Splendid. Attack middle lane.
He's full on Lich King. Full on.
The Titan. Impressive. Wipe them out. Use whatever means necessary.
Full on Lich King.
Your blood will be spilled this day. What did the zombie do after he dumped his girlfriend? He wiped his bum.
Oh my God. Your face, aggro.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Who came up with that?
Really? I was really like, man, I've got no idea what the zombie did after dumping his girlfriend. Like, what could he possibly have done?
Of all things.
Awesome. That is really excellent.
Oh, great.
Twitch Prime, everybody. Make sure you get
Good
your
start to the day.
Really good start. Really good start, Tina. That's what we're looking for. Okay. Star Force Neath is next up on the list. This one you actually get by linking your high-res and Nintendo Switch accounts, and you get this one for free.
Yeah.
So nice and easy for you here. And this is one of the recolors of a previous Neath skin. I think that, what is that one? Like Star Destroyer?
Star Tamer or something like that. Yeah,
something.
One of those Star Egyptian.
Stars are getting messed up by this Neath, and that's all you really need to know. But this time, the red and blue, sort of Switch-esque colors looking really good. I wish that it could be matched to my Joy-Cons that I have on my Switch.
Yes.
That's the
cool.
next level tech.
Yeah.
Do you have the neon ones?
I've got they're like bright green and bright pink.
Yes.
Nice.
I love those ones.
Yeah, they're really good.
They remind me of watermelons.
Yeah, they kind of do look like watermelons, actually. Those effects, if you're familiar with the old Star Neath skin, very, very similar to that. It's really about that exclusive Nintendo Switch linking that you're looking for there for a free skin for you guys at home.
suddenly crave for
Dragon
watermelons.
Prince Naja is next up on our list, and this is one that I'm really excited to see all the effects for and everything like that.
Yes.
But because Naja is it's such a cool god to play a lot of the time, and now you've got a friend right next to you.
Yeah, it's not your sash anymore.
No, it's a dragon.
It's your friend.
Well, the sash was kind of my friend, but now my friend will talk back to me this time around. It's
Yes.
Fang. That's the dragon's name. I didn't have to ask you this
Fang.
time, Tina.
Nice.
Fang.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't write this voice pack, so
Well,
I didn't know his name was Fang.
But I would have asked you. You would have had to make something up, and you would have probably made up something a little bit less appropriate than Fang, if I had to guess.
You're right.
So I made sure to get it beforehand this time.
Oh,
It was
good.
It was the right call
That's
for
good.
me and the show, basically. What inspired this skin? I
really just like the dragon about it, like,
take either
that's
what
why
inspired
I
it,
would,
or
like, play it.
how the execution went with
The
a
rest
lot
is
of this
cool, but
skin?
the dragon is what makes it really cool.
As far as the inspiration, not too sure.
I think it's lore, right?
Is it lore? Oh, it's.
Are we doing more dragon skins? Because I know we did the one with the
It
Discordia.
doesn't use the dragon
where
with
she has
sash though.
dragons on her back, and it feels kind of reminiscent of that with like having dragons.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
they
yeah, and
have
Nox
like a
has one as
tie-in.
well.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've also been on this little thing where we've been like the Discordia, where her apple is like a little pet dragon
Right.
kind of thing, right? So we're kind of following that theme, I guess.
More dragon pets.
Right,
We're
yeah.
all trying to be Lance, basically, is what you're telling me. And who wouldn't want to be Lance? The ultimate
he wasn't the
sky,
free. I
the
wish he
sky
wasn't
in
the
the
sash,
background.
though.
It looks really good.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I do want to note that the sash right now is not final on the actual fire of the ability. It will be different than just the standard blue sash, though did get confirmation that Fang will not be sashing your enemies for you,
Right,
because
yeah.
dragons can't do that. And
I
why?
wonder
That'd be
what
intense.
he will be doing then.
Aw.
I don't know. You'll have to buy the skin
a
and find
mystery.
out.
Yeah,
That's
I guess you're right, girl.
that's the game plan.
That would be so cool if it was like
A sash is very different than a
Fighting
dragon, though, right? I mean, that has got to be an animation challenge to get the dragon working, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think John worked on the dragon, but there's probably some issues with just like the path that the sash originally followed, and it probably doesn't align well with the dragon. So if going in and fixing that, making sure it looks good, is one of the challenges that we had.
Yeah, I want to say the sash.
I wanna
is like
see
an
the other
animated
animation so
texture
bad now.
that
It could be
actually
so good.
moves along a path or like that mesh or that geometry.
Right.
I want to say that we got this dragon set up on an actual like curve that it gets animated along, if I'm not mistaken. And it took a little bit of trial and error to get that set up, but our one of our teammates, Veronica, got that set up and looking really good.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I've got a note here that says it is a whole new rig, it's not material driven
Right.
or anything like that. So definitely a lot of work to make sure Fang is looking good, and boy is he. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here for Dragon Prince Naja.
Attack middle lane! Defend the Titan! Yeah! Woohoo! Amazing!
pretty standard.
That was well done. I am perfection. My honor and pride will not be tarnished. You stand against a prince. Kneel and swear yourself to me, or become dragon food. You know why I'm the dragon prince? Because I'll be dragging you up into the sky. Fire dragons hate birthday cakes. They can never blow out
No.
the candles.
You know, if I was like,
That's a good point.
yeah, he's not wrong. Number one, is he wrong? Is what you got to ask yourself, and he's not. And number two, if I was a young prince and a dragon followed me around, I'd probably be pretty full of myself too. That's all I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
if I had a dragon like circling around me right now, I'd be a lot more annoying than I already am. So it's probably a good thing that I don't have a dragon.
I would
floating
use
around
him
me.
like Mushu and like use him to light fires by pulling at him.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know?
I could see that. But again, he couldn't really like blow out the candles afterwards, so he wouldn't like it that much.
Yeah, that's true.
But the lighting of the candles would be efficient.
Yeah.
At the very least.
It would be.
Infinite Seer Apwash next up on the list here. This is
Oh, I like how the
so
picture's
first
like
of all, Infinite
super
Shift Sun
symmetrical.
Wukong. I've been spamming Sun Wukong because I just love playing the skin so much, and this feels like the next sort of iteration of this style.
Whoa.
I love it.
This theme is great.
The
It's
head
awesome.
twist.
It's so good.
It's
I
so
got to
cool.
work on the Sun Wukong one, and it was just very unique and very cool to have like those missing sections of
Yeah.
body and stuff like that. It's really awesome.
Yeah,
A lot of
using the
negative space.
empty space,
Right.
sort of, and you
Yeah.
can see that this Opwash skin is doing much of the same. When you were told that that was the idea for this sort of series of skins, were you like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, not use up space?
brain
How
looks
difficult
really
was
cool.
that as a differentiation from the norm?
Yeah, so luckily we have an awesome team of concept artists and character artists that really have good visualization for these kind of things. So they come up with great plans and great visuals to make this look and feel like an actual character.
I almost feel like
you
they
know?
shouldn't have
Obviously,
blood.
typically
I almost
people
feel like
don't
it would
have
work
these
better without
negative
blood.
spaces in them. So seeing this and believing that it can be a thing is just awesome.
Whoa.
It's really cool.
Dude, that animation of the two, the
What-
corpse
that-
explosion
that
with the little
is so-
glass shatter that
That's this,
floats
like,
there for a
slow-mo
minute
effect.
afterwards.
Oh yeah, that glass
That's
effect.
awesome.
That's so cool.
That reminds
that
me
looks
of
absolutely
Dread,
great.
of the
Does he
movie
have any
Dread.
floating intestines?
That is so
he's
cool.
wearing a little bit more armor than Wukong.
That
He
honestly is the
does
best
have
effect I've
a
seen in
floating
Smite, I think.
piece in his skull. I guess it's kind of like a
Like
That
a
is
brain?
just-
basically.
I just
but
wanna
it's-
see the
it's
two again.
not,
I see it. It's
It's
on our
not
brain.
organic. It's like a geometric shape.
Gotcha.
So Sun Wukong had the heart,
Heart,
right?
Yeah.
This guy doesn't have the organic aspect, but he still has that concept of
Wow, it looks
a
so cool.
piece there that's kind of humanistic.
He's true
Whoa.
galaxy brain there.
Right? Yeah.
And there's some more geometric shapes for empty
Whoa,
the
that one's hard
crypts.
to tell. It's so bright.
So cool.
I love the effects on this one. It's great.
Oh my, Pon is gonna break the game. There's no
He's
what
just gonna freeze.
really
and-
playing with fire here, Pon. I don't, you do you, but that is spooky every single time. The effects though looking absolutely amazing. That shattered geometric shape is definitely something that I think is so cool. I'm all about this skin. I love it.
I know.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I
know the
wasn't
Shadow
so sure
Spirit
before, but now
Outwash
I'm
is one of my
down.
favorite skins in the game, and
Yeah.
I play a lot of Outwash, but this is definitely rivaling that,
That
skin.
too.
I know,
is so
isn't it the
cool.
worst when you've got like a skin that you really love for a character you
Yeah.
play a lot, and then we do one of these, like an insane skin, you're like,
Right.
oh god, now I can only play one.
Yeah.
Like, thanks a lot, high res. Jerks.
Thanks for giving me another good skin to play with.
How dare you, scum. All right, let's take a listen to the voice pack here for Infinite Seer Opwash.
Defend the Titan. Attack. Defend rightly. You have potential. Enlightening.
Problem is, if you have two of those on your team, you don't know who's who at some point. Always have to
True
read chat.
gods learn to avoid petty squabbles. So much ignorance in this world. I'll do my best to remedy that. What kind of school do you find on a mountaintop? High school. That popular image that humans use of a celestial being with a shimmering brain. That's me.
Actually, it's a meme reference.
Yo, I think this guy is smart. I don't know. Just like the feeling I'm getting from him. Also, listen to this copy line that we have for the skin. If you weren't sold yet, and maybe you've got, you're a big, smart person with a ton of IQ or something like that, this skin reflects the descent of consciousness from spirit into matter through the chain of being.
My goodness, who wrote that?
Wow.
Please buy gems. Okay, Wolfsbane Scotty is next up on the list. This one is looking really cool and very different than your normal Caldir Scotty relationship. This isn't.
It's not Caldir though. It's Oak.
It's
It's
Oak.
named after Pompon's cat.
I was gonna say
Aw.
that isn't that Ponpon's cat's name? Okay, I've never like physically met Oak before, but I've seen pictures and all kind of stuff, and that doesn't really look that much like Oak.
No, but he's still a forest animal, and Oak's, a forest thing, like a tree. So I just named
Oh,
it.
I thought you were calling Pon's cat a forest animal. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh,
really? Is
no,
he?
no, I'm talking about this thing.
Where does
Yes,
Pun live?
yeah, the oak tree, of course, and
Yeah.
then Oak the dog.
Yeah, it's
Oak's a
Scotty and
good
Oak.
pet name.
It is a good pet name.
Good work, Pon.
Yeah, good work, Pon.
That's that. Way to keep it up, man. You're doing a great job. This is such a cool differentiation. I mean, we've done Caldir as a dragon. We've done Caldir as a robot. But this
and
like
a Doge.
and of course a
Yeah.
Doge.
Yep.
This one is so like, I just know, dragon, robot, that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of cool. But this is a sentient wood dog.
Yeah.
Made entirely of wood.
Wooden.
Yes.
And he has a really cool
that's so
fern
cool.
tree. I mean, fern tail.
Yeah.
Maybe Tail Guy will really like his tail.
Yeah, I love tails.
Yeah, I love tails. Will maybe appreciate this fern tail.
Here's hoping. I also love those little. Are those feathers on Scotty's back there?
They look like kind of like.
Oh yeah, the blue ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they are kind of like.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
like
Yeah,
fur.
those
Like these
feathers.
are up our horns. And
Yes.
the things
I
that
thought it
are
was like
down,
a-
I think, are feathers.
That's so cool.
Cape or something.
And this is some. There's like a little swamp that she's setting down that
It's
makes you
moss.
slip. Oh, moss. Okay, that
Forest
makes
This
sense.
moss is so slippery.
Yes, moss is very slippery. That is definitely a fact. So works for me.
Ooh.
That is
That does
so
look
cool.
good.
I'm about this.
Wait, I'm
I
not
like
even that
purple
impressed by
and
the old. I don't know why
green.
they
These
reacted like
colors
that.
are great.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
they are definitely a really good
But
look.
not
and
like a
the
wow
swirling
nice.
moss there for you. That her one looks really cool as well. That piercing cold has a cool little
Oh, yeah.
foresty effect.
I've never really played Scotty, but this skin looks cool.
It's really gonna be the day
Maybe
where the
you
patch notes
should,
gonna be super long.
Be like a new oak main. You know?
I don't know, maybe Pom Pom should.
Yeah, maybe Pon Pon should. Though, can you really jungle Scotty that well? I don't know.
I don't know, maybe Pom Pom can. Yes,
Pon Pon
yes,
probably
he's saying
can.
yes.
Oh yeah, you like level the
Yes.
dog and let the
Pom
dog
Pom
tank it for
jungled
you.
Jorm yesterday.
Well,
I
think
mean, I already read about Jungle Dom, so
But that's a little teasing.
that's not
He
surprising.
was, like zoning me the.
You got it.
He's zoning me out.
Yes,
There you
it
go.
is. Nice. I had faith in you the whole time. The whole time, Tina. That was great work by you. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here for Wolfsbane Scotty.
Attack middle lane. Defend the Titan. You are incredible. Marvelous. Woohoo! We're 1 in a million. I have trained in the art of Dryadic combat. You shouldn't be a problem. Do your worst, outsider. Here's a brief explanation of an acorn. In a nutshell, it's an oak tree. Whenever
Nice.
someone is annoying me, I just tell them to leave me alone, Birch.
Call her a bird.
Yeah.
Like bitch, but birch.
Right. Got it.
Oh man,
Get
I
it?
was
You get the
I was
joke?
so
You get the
confused.
joke?
Yeah, I was so confused
It
a minute
all
ago.
makes
I want to
sense
show you
now.
something aggro.
Okay, is this the bet? Oh yeah, that's a picture of me on your phone making a face that no one will be able to see, and you
Nope.
should just tweet it.
Well, they
'cause-
see it on Twitter.
Yeah, they'll see it on Twitter. Make sure to follow Tina's Twitter account. What's your Twitter handle?
Titan Tina. Titan Forge Tina.
One of those.
I think
and
it's
you'll
time.
get there,
It's
I
a
guess.
mystery.
Yeah, it's a
I
fun
don't think
little
any
adventure
Harris
game.
employee or
Find
Titan
Tina's
player is
Twitter
called
if you haven't
Titan
found it
Forge.
already. Next up on the list, I believe this might be our finale here on the skins, most of the way, and that's Spellbound Chang'e. This skin.
Love her.
Okay, so I don't really like get it. Like this is definitely from a genre that I'm like not particularly familiar with, but I'm like
Final
it's
Fantasy,
cool.
isn't it?
Like I'm about this. I
It
don't know.
reminds me of Bunny Girl animes.
That's what I would like. I'm
Or
not
that
particularly
I
familiar
have
with
no
that.
idea about.
I mean,
genre.
I've never watched any of that genre, but I see a lot of pictures for it. Like just
Sure,
art
like
for
on
it.
yeah. On Twitter, there's always
Yeah.
weird stuff going around. So
Yeah.
but she's the big ears are kind of funny. I don't know, they're cool.
them.
And I like how Chang'e's ears are like poking through the hat, but the bunnies aren't.
No.
It's like,
Right.
dude, what are you
I
doing? Like, learn to use your giant bunny ears, you fool. I like it. I love the little bunny hat. This bunny's just adorable in the first place, and I love it. I love this bunny rabbit already. Shout outs to Taz, my favorite bunny on the planet.
Oh my god! Oh, look at him go!
Here he goes.
Oh, we didn't hear him.
Maybe he can.
Farewell.
That's awesome.
Nice.
What is that?
Oh wow, that's cool.
Dude, that is cool. What is that little? Is that like a little triangle heart attack, like for
What
the
it-
auto attacks and the one?
Is that a heart though?
I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, I couldn't tell what it was either.
I don't know either.
We were
Maybe
it's
we
an
were,
arrow.
we were
It's an
looking at it
arrow.
earlier, but it looks.
It's
I mean,
like
it
a
looks
heart
really
arrow.
good.
Yeah, it's like a heart arrow. Like, watch
Yeah.
out, here I come, the arrow.
Grab some of the potions we made last week, Phineas.
Yo,
You
shouts to
have
the
to.
bunny.
Now-
The rabbit is Chris Sabat.
No way, is it really?
Yeah. I was like, Chris, can you do a funny rabbit voice for me? And he did.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. I gotta hear it. The voice of Vegeta as a rabbit. That is so cool. This That is really awesome.
It is a little hard to see, but I think the bunny has a cauldron on his back.
What?
No way.
And whenever he goes to pick up an item,
No.
I think. I could be wrong about that.
Let's find out. Slow-mo is the call.
But then the cauldron wouldn't be on there anymore because he already gave it to Chunga.
Well, right. He has. I think he's going to get that item.
Here he goes.
On his way back. This
So
might
you better
take
time this
forever.
perfectly, Pon
Yeah,
Pon.
it's got to
Do
be on the
your
run back, I
thing.
think.
Why is he just chilling though?
Well, he's like gathering his orders right now.
He went
you
into
know?
mad
He's making
slow-mo.
sure. It's like, you put your order in online, but you have to wait until the
Here he
restaurant
goes.
gets it.
Oh.
Yo, my man's got hops.
Usually, I think he has like a little box or present on his back.
Yeah.
I think he has a cauldron this time.
Okay. So now we wait for the bunny to get back. In the meantime, we can show you some more of these abilities.
So I know for this skin, the animation team, we went in and for the bunny ears, we had to go and make sure they're a proper amount of floppiness.
Oh yeah, you can't have stiff bunny ears.
No, we can't stiff bunny.
Oh, I'm
That's just not
spacing
gonna
out too
work.
hard.
Okay.
I need some
And the
jump
bunny's
right
coming
now.
down the home stretch right here. Look upon, wait
Oh, he's
for
coming.
him.
He's right there.
Okay, slow it down.
Oh.
Very close. Let's see.
Oh wow,
He does have a
have
little
that.
cauldron.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
That is
That
awesome.
Actually really cool.
That is so cool. He delivers the
Is
cauldron.
he high-fiving her?
I don't know.
He's jumping up
He's
and down.
handing the item off.
He's pumped. And the cauldron's gone.
Oh, that's so cute.
That is really cool. A nice little touch there. And again, it's Vegeta, the bunny, running around.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's doing all that crazy stuff. All right, let's listen to the voice pack.
Defend the Titan. Attack. Enemy missing middle. I'm impressed. How enchanting. We are amazing.
That's the rabbit.
Let's test out a few of those new spells you've learned.
What do you
Sounds
think,
like,
Phineas? Should we polymorph them into something
Family Guy. Stewie.
What kind of wizard can jump higher than a mountain?
I think it's
All
Stewie.
wizards, mountains can't jump.
I am terrible at fishing, but I am excellent at casting spells.
I mean, he's not wrong. As he mountains can't jump. I don't know. I can't argue with it. He's right. Objectively, it's just a fact. I don't know. That skin looking really, really awesome. Make sure you get involved with that. And again, a huge voice actor doing the bunny rabbit. So and I love how it's like a huge name, and it's like, yo, can you do this little side character? Because we're that cool. You know what I mean? It's not even like the main ticket, right?
I just asked very nicely.
That's what we have Tina for, asking very, very nicely and doing it well. We also have an On Her Mastery update we wanted to show you guys. On Her has gotten some love on his golden, legendary, and diamond skins. A classic god in the battlegrounds who is now looking really, really good. It's subtle on the
I
gold
don't even
because he's
know
pretty
what
golden
looking
himself,
for.
just by nature.
But that looks
looking
pretty
forward
good.
to those. I want to see the legendary skin as well, which Pon should be able to hook it up with in just a second as he types in the command in order to get on over there. We go beyond the curtain
Secrets,
here.
can't let him see it.
That's right. Yeah, very secret. That is looking really, really cool. On Her is like, it's one of those characters. He has so many cool skins, and I just can't help but just use either Olympian On Her or like the default because he just looks so good. Like, I don't know.
I like the green one for some reason.
Jungle King?
Jungle King.
Yeah. And then I take all my fights in the jungle and I say, I'm the Jungle King.
Jungle King.
That's right. That's the
You
game
just
plan.
say it with an accent.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna, I don't want to offend anybody or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just safer that way, you know.
I just make up an accent.
Well, yeah, but it's okay when you do it
Oh.
because like
Okay.
you're a more naturally talented individual. For me, I'm gonna
Give
like
me
say
Jorm.
something dumb
Jorm.
and then people are gonna get mad at me about it. So I'm just gonna stay on the safer side.
Before I
here.
pass it
You know
on the
what I mean?
keyboard.
Hey, do you guys want to like sit here and talk about the weather or
A big snake?
what's that? Oh, okay. I'm told we have to move it along because Jomungandr is coming
Ooh,
up
yes.
right now. So thanks guys for being on the
Hashtag
skin
wake me
segment.
up inside.
Check this out. You're gonna like it.
It's awesome.
That doesn't even make sense, but I love this already. I'm moving myself out of the screen almost entirely, hiding in the corner.
You should have left me sleeping. In a different time, I would have crushed you little gods. But I shall let you endure. Now stare out into the world
Damn. That's the best trailer Smite has done in a long time. Best trailer, like, how many trailers have they done lately?
Oh, yeah. It's awesome. Jomungandr, a god that has been asked for 1,000,000 times in Smite, has finally arrived. And the bringers of creation here are joining me. It's AJ, it's Clumsy, and it's Josh. Josh, part of the gameplay programming team. Guys, what made Season 6 the right time to finally bring Jomungandr to Smite?
Well, we need a big snake. We don't have anything
There you
like
have
him, really. You know, we're looking into new things. Arthur and Merlin, we don't have anything quite like them. And we were looking for something the community's been asking for a long time that also we don't have anything quite like. And Jorm, or Jorm, as we've said his name so many times, we're already to the point of you know, people will always come up with catchy nicknames for gods. We just call him Jorm for short.
I told you,
and we might do that a few times on accident.
No, I'm sure
on the couch.
Oh, we call him John.
He's been saying it
Also
a lot,
easier to write that out than the full name the entire time.
Jorm was just so unique in his presentation and the way we wanted to show him, and we've actually been testing things for this god for a really long time to try to get it working, because we had to make some interesting decisions to make this happen. So it's finally here, and we're super excited about it.
He's so cool. I cannot wait for you guys to get a chance to see him. So for those who aren't as familiar with Jorm and why he's such a big figure in Norse mythology, give us some quick background on his lore.
Quick background lore. Clumsy, you want this, or you want me to take it?
You know way more about that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some interesting stories that are a little sillier that you can go read for yourself, but I'm not gonna go into those today. It's kind of like his side tales.
Yeah, right.
But his main
I think that's a few real ones
in ancient Norse mythology is he arrives at the time of Ragnarok.
Right.
So at the time of Ragnarok is after the Great Winter, and there's going to be a war that's going to destroy the Norse gods. And Jorm appears and releases his venomous breath into the air as part of just kind of the apocalypse, really.
Sure.
So he arrives at Ragnarok, and he's described to be the Midgard serpent, and Midgard was like the world to them.
Yeah,
literally
so
the world. Yeah.
he's described as the world serpent, or a serpent as big as the world, and often symbolized in his Ouroboros symbol, where he's biting his own tail as a symbol of cycles and rebirth, and just in nature and history. So,
And I was thinking on the Smite's lore as well. He's very relevant in the recent
right, so
Arthurian
yeah,
Pantheon event. That's what I was thinking.
as a Ragnarok character, historically, we brought him into the Smite lore as we're kind of reaching the end of our Ragnarok arc in the Smite storyline, and the way our gods are being presented in the game.
Right.
So here is Jorm, kind of the final battle of Ragnarok and Smite before we'll move on to a new stage of the story.
So cool. All right, you guys have to see him. However big you think he is, he's probably going to be bigger. Let's see.
Let's go.
In game. So,
yes.
you guys are gonna love it. Wait, Pod, all this build up, and we mess it up, and it's Odin. That's really awesome.
Whoa.
Boy. Did he just popped out of the ground? Odin's a big dude.
Nice.
Look at how big he is. That is just preposterously
running away from the guy.
Pon is out of there. Dude.
Oh, infinite blink. That's a fun cheat.
Yeah, that is. That sounds about appropriate. And that wasn't dev silliness or anything like that.
He's a little less wide than us.
No, he's not
Jorm.
scaled in any sort of weird way for
Tall,
that
but not
presentation.
that wide.
That's just how big he is. That was an Odin size, and that was Jomungandr.
He's a big boy.
Really looking up at
There he
Jomungandr.
is.
Here he is in all of his glory. And that pop out wasn't again any dev shadiness. It was just Jomungandr.
Yeah,
That's part of his kit.
But you should be able to see him over the wall.
He has a
if he stands
heavy,
on the other
he's a
side.
guardian. And he
should
is
actually be
designed
able to
around
see
the
him.
concepts of zone control, and he's got a bit of an ambush type of style to him. So the zone control, I think we brought that into the design because of his history and lore about the world, right? He is a global presence, and although his ultimate may or may not be officially global.
There's another one.
Yeah, that's how big he is when you're just driving him around in the game.
He's not peeking all the walls.
The kit is designed around zone control and a bit of an ambush because that's a snaky thing to do, right? So it's snake and it's world are the core things. And then just as you can see here, just moving him around, he feels very different from other gods. His camera is roughly 3 times taller than other tall gods in the game.
Definitely see a lot.
This can make navigating through the jungle a bit difficult from time to time, but it comes at a big advantage, which is when Jorm is in a complicated battleground, he can see so much more around him.
Oh yeah, easily. And the ability to see over walls, see what camps are being taken, that's all part of the
I'm so excited. This is so cool.
This like he takes up a little more room on the player controller's screen who's controlling him. A lot of gods come up to about half. Their heads come up to about half point in the screen. You can see he's a little higher.
That's his jump.
Taking the camera up too much higher was starting to get really zoomed out. We
Yeah.
felt like this was really a sweet spot where the player can still see what's going on and actually can see a lot more about what's going on around them
Overall, yeah,
than
easily.
a normal god, but didn't
Field
make
of
it
view
feel
120
like a
right
completely
there.
different game.
Yeah, there's definitely some concessions for his camera height to make sure that the player really feels how grandiose and large he is without blocking too much of their screen.
We pushed everything to the maximum as far as we could. He is essentially just his snake body fits inside Kepri's hitbox, which is the biggest god in the game. And then he is, of course,
You
way
could stack
taller.
those Odins. You can literally stack them one on top
Right.
of the
Oh,
other.
and he really is impressive when you see him in context with things like
Yeah. If you see him next to like a Ratatosk, it's just insane.
I was gonna say, like next to Cupid or Ratatosker, it's gonna be really preposterous.
Kepri, the previous largest god in the game, and Fafnir Dragon, he's 2 to 3 times taller than those characters, and using the same hitbox, which is the largest we've got.
All right,
So cool.
Yeah, let's get into his kit.
Let's get into it. So let's start with the passive because it doesn't actually.
basic.
It's really about its basic attacks that
I'm
focused on.
Sure.
Is that
So
where you
there's
want to start?
2 core components.
Yes. So let's go with the basic attack component.
Okay, let's go with the basic attacks
off
just
the
in
bat.
general. So yours basic attacks work a little bit differently. He's a big toxic dragon snake.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there's Ratatosk. Oh,
So
wait.
tiny.
Oh, nice. I was wondering who was jumping him up and down. Nah. Oh, that's kind of
That's
cute
good.
too.
There's Jorm's jump sneak
Yeah.
peek.
There it is. He's getting a lot of height there.
We did it.
Yep. So Yorm's
basic
basic
attacks.
attacks. It's a cone channel in front of him that rapidly ticks, as you can see. So it's doing it 0.2 second intervals, and then after a short period of time, it starts slowing down and then slowing down. So it's kind of a reverse overheating mechanic. So then at the max cap of attack, it's pretty much going at a 0.5 second attack speed, but it starts at a 0.2 second tick interval.
Okay, so you can really burn people down for a slight period of time.
Right, exactly.
But it won't. You can't just sit there and left click a Gold Fury for an
That's
eternity.
really nice
No, for
punish,
sure. You've got to
though.
give that
And it's nice
give him
lane
some
clear
time
with
to breathe back into his
AoE.
toxins.
And you can see his passive meter here is attached to show you as
Yep.
it's reached the multiple stages of weakness. It
there's-
empties, and then when he stops attacking for a little
There's
bit, it'll
definitely
refill.
some tweaks that we are constantly making, and in PTS you're going to see something a little bit different. The passive meter is going to be more smooth, and his basic attack
I love
rate
how the
will
enemies
be,
react as
slowing
well.
down kind of more often than just in large gaps. So
Okay.
there's always effects, sound effects, and some gameplay changes that you're going to be seeing in PTS and on his release.
Yeah, it'll be like intimidating down over time.
Some final touches.
Yep.
Yeah, more of a slider than a knob.
Then
if
a
you
knob,
will.
exactly.
But that's
exactly
not really his passive.
No, his
No, that's
passive,
just his
you guys
basic
talked a little bit about in an article.
Right.
You're not going to be able to say Naja ult someone as big as
Wait,
Jomungandr.
he
You're
is
not, you don't get to do that.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jomungandr's passive is immovable, and this means that with it we had to create a new glossary term and a new term in SMITE called hard displacement. And Jomungandr cannot be affected by hard displacement in any way. So that means if Fenrir tries to grab Jorm, if Naja is trying to ulti, if Kuzumbo is trying to spin or push through Jomungandr, he is just not going to be affected by those movements. But instead, he will be hit with a debuff called Dazed that will slow him down at a 20%.
Wait, it's at 10%.
Movement slow to
Oh.
Jomungandr that will fade over a little bit of time, and that's a 2-second max duration. It'll also increase the damage he takes by 10% for that time.
Oh wow. So that's still. I mean, that's a pretty strong drawback.
Honestly, it
yes,
might be.
super
You
good,
might have to
can't
have
get
more damage
on her
taken
impaled,
because the
but
counters some
instead of
guys
getting
really
stunned against
hard.
the wall, now you take 10% more damage and are slowed for
Right.
for a
10%
short
more
duration,
damage
so
is
it's
a
still
nice
good.
trade-off for
The-
Naja
it's
ult, I can
important
tell you
thing to
that.
note there that's going to be an important balance note for us going forward. That knob to turn on his passive to really find the level that feels fair. Being immune to this many types of CC effects in the game, like he just walks right through Poseidon Whirlpool, doesn't care, doesn't pull him.
Oh,
He
but
gets
yeah, 'cause
slowed.
that's an
He gets
important
slowed, but he doesn't
damage.
get pulled. Like
Right.
Hades ult, he can just walk out.
Oh yeah,
There's
Tyr-
a lot of things.
Man, the counter matchup against Tyr, like
Yeah,
you just
absolutely.
literally can't
Oh,
get
yeah.
fearless.
Yeah, I mean Fenrir can bite him, and Fenrir will just use his ult and hit the damage, but won't pick him up and move him anywhere. So there's a lot of things. So we wanted to make sure we had a
Yeah.
way
Oh, Baron
to
ult, yeah.
offset that, just to make sure we could control that from a design perspective to see what felt normal.
you foolish Baron.
But it's also pretty thematic. He's this large dragon that is pretty much encompassing the entire world.
Yeah.
He,
Right. Well, not only is it thematic, it was determined early on in our testing
Yes,
that this
absolutely.
god would not exist.
Right.
If we could not design him in this way.
I
we
mean-
weren't gonna. We did it. We had a version where he had a whole bunch of snake body, like a whole bunch, and then when he got ulted, that would all come up out of the ground.
No, thank you.
And
It
we
was-
were just like, it looks bad, it feels bad, it doesn't make sense with his
weird.
scale.
Right.
We can't possibly make it long enough to
Yeah.
feel correct. But then,
Yeah.
so we were like, the only way this god is happening is if we make this design rule, And we were pretty confident we could balance it through these types of knobs.
Exactly.
So honestly, if we turn those numbers up enough, this could easily become a debuff as part of the kit than a buff.
Right,
If he's taking 30% increased damage from every knockup ability and for duration afterwards, like that might be significantly weaker than just being knocked up
in the first place.
So I feel like we'll be able to find that balance point, and I feel like the starting point right here is a pretty safe start.
I remember very early on when I got hired, I was like, "Yo, man, you know what'd be sick?
More damage.
Smite
I think it's more damage
Jormungandr." For the millionth time, I'm sure you heard that. And you were like, "Okay, what's going to happen when he gets Sylvanus ulted?" And I was like,
20%.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. That doesn't really.
So,
yeah, okay,
those are all the things we had to keep.
So
in
yeah,
mind.
that was one of the parts of the really early tests we referenced that a few times was us trying all those things out, and that's why we really wanted to make sure he can't be moved. So core
That's
part
his
of the god,
recall animation.
core reason he even exists.
Yeah,
super
But
cool.
let's
okay,
move to his first ability.
Let's do the first ability, Venomous Haze.
Yeah, Venomous Haze is Jormungandr's first ability, and as you can see there, it's got the inner circle radius and something a little bit larger. So he fires out a projectile from his gaping maw that does damage on impact, and then creates a large toxic cloud that lasts a pretty long time. And that's probably the core to his entire kit, because we were talking about how, you know, he's very deployable heavy. He's wanting to manage and the battlefields with his toxins and deployables. So this is his first ability, Venomous Haze, that does damage on impact and leaves a 20-second duration cloud that deals damage every second and slows enemies inside of it for every second.
And it looks like that pink circle is moving out. That's your
it's
timer?
indicating the duration.
Beautiful.
And this is also
that's a really nice indication that way.
Of his other parts of his kit.
Okay, so something to keep an eye on. So then let's, I don't want to move too fast here, but let's move on to one of the abilities that will end up using.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
cloud.
So we can go straight to the second ability, Consuming Bellow. So not interacting with any of his clouds, Consuming Bellow is a large channel ability that deals damage, trembles, and slows at the end of its eruption. So you can see over there, you know, it's a 20 radius AoE around him, where he can't do anything. He does have a little bit of damage mitigation, which is kind of offsetting his passive a little bit during the channel, because that's all he can do. And now if there's a cloud in the radius up to a maximum of 3, it'll actually grow in size and deal extra damage.
Oh yeah, that got a lot bigger.
And you can see the projectiles there that show that you've used the clouds.
Yeah, he kind of sucks him up into the storm that's brewing.
In fact,
around
it's
him.
also taking some of the duration. You can see those pink circles we talked about. Those indicating that those toxic clouds now last a much shorter
This is
amount
one
of
of
time.
my favorite design choices we've made on Yorm, because we've had a lot of gods that can they use things and then they consume them and they go back and forth, and it creates some weird feelings where you feel like, oh no,
they're gone forever.
Bye, Odins.
They do not like
They
being
don't stop.
trembled.
The bots don't like being trembled. It used to create some weird feels where like it would kind of encourage you not to do the thing, because then you would be removing things and you'd be losing things, kind of like old Hades before we updated his passive and things like that.
Right, losing.
So what we've done with Yorm is actually when he uses one of his venomous clouds, he just decreases their duration, but they still remain there.
Gotcha.
And it was incredibly important, as we're going to see with some of his other abilities, or the other two, that he's able to create all these clouds, but they don't all last on the battlefield for an incredibly long period of time, because that's going to leave a lot of visual clutter, and the opponents just won't be able to play around 10 fields. In fact, his maximum of toxic clouds is 9, and we want to keep that as a little dramatic number 2. So
which is really pretty impossible to actually achieve.
It's also, it's also definitely worth noting that, like,
right?
especially when you have 2 Jomungandrs, we also do distinguish which poison cloud is yours by that blue outline. So for an enemy Jomungandr, you're going to see a red outline.
Tried to go heavy on the enemy-friendly coloration, which we use throughout the game, but this one is especially important.
Yeah, definitely very important there.
Let's get outside of the Odin's range and go into the third ability.
Yes,
So
Submerge.
this one's interesting.
We'll probably be using Baron Bot for now, because he has not run away.
So this is Jormungandr's third ability, Submerge. As you can see, he goes underneath the ground, turning invisible and getting what I call a predatory vision sense, which is those sonar-like pulses outwards. And what that does is it allows him to see enemy gods, only Jormungandr, through walls, through fog of war, and through invisibility.
He's like a double counter. He's a
So that means
stealth
if there's a
counter
Loki
and a
and
knockup
Alfong,
counter.
he's an enemy
That's
that's
actually
trying to
pretty
stealth
crazy.
away, well, he will be able to find them.
Sonar pulsing. I mean, whoever's playing Yorm better have good communication, because I need to hear he's running north, he's going towards mids. Like I gotta know. Give me your sonar call outs right away, and then a big knockup whenever
Yeah, exactly.
he emerges
So you
as
can
well.
see on his emerge, when it refires, it knocks up enemies and does damage. He can be CC'd out of this, in which case he's not going to knock up enemies. And also, if he takes any damage from gods while he's stealthed, it will break the stealth.
Oh, okay. So it's more like an Alquan stealth than a Loki
Exactly.
stealth.
It doesn't break him out of the ability, it just lets you see him swimming towards you.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Oh.
So you'll still see you won't lose your knockup
That's not
potential.
that bad.
Exactly.
And my favorite part about this is, I'm a Guardian main, and you are always looking for ways in Smite as a Guardian to get in on the enemy team and then crowd control them. So, like using Blink and Geb ult, or using a Fafnir leap and then ulting and things like that, or Bacchus flop. This is a new way to do that as a Guardian, where you actually can try to stealth into their squad and then knock them up and then make a team play off it, team fight off it, which is just super fun.
That's so cool. We also need to make sure to mention that it's also a movement speed increase, right? So the way you can chase down enemies and lurk underneath the ground.
It's a slight movement speed, though. It's difficult to really run people down with this. We want you to have to be tactical with it.
Right. I'm just thinking of the cool moments where you're in the, a team fight breaks out, Yorm's in the middle of it, and then he just submerges, and you're like, is he going on me? Is he going to help his back line? Like, what's going to happen
And
here?
in fact, right there, Pon showed off the last thing that Submerge does, which is if he interacts with any of his current Toxic Clouds on the ground, it takes some of the duration and it creates 2 new deployables as well.
Ooh.
So that's a way of creating
all 3
more.
are at the shortened duration.
Exactly.
That's really cool, and sets him up beautifully for his 2 right there.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So you've got a really strong combo here as Yorm. You toss the cloud, then get it ready for the next one.
It can be difficult to really throw a cloud on an opponent and then go underground and burst out on them, though. So these abilities, although they have synergies, they have synergies in multiple directions, and you can use them in multiple orders for differing levels of the combo. Whereas pulling off the true combo, the 1 into the 3 into the fully charged 2, is actually pretty difficult to execute.
But it seems like you get a pretty good reward should it work out for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And one of my favorite things about just like these poison clouds is they're great for crowd control and like managing where people are going.
Yeah.
He can block off an entire entrance to his duo lane with that.
Yeah.
Then you're sacrificing a lane clear ability pretty heavily there, but you can do that if you're worried.
I think that's got to be the main usage
definitely.
of it.
And of course, you only have 1 charge. It's not a charge-based ability, so you do need to wait for the cooldown.
Right.
But
absolutely.
But it's pretty strong, regardless.
And I think this is the part that everyone exclaims about. We have to show off his ultimate.
Yeah. You know what? Real quick, before you do that, Clumsy, all of you viewers at home, sit down, make sure your drink isn't anywhere near you.
We already know that he's going to fly out.
Make sure you're nice and calm, take a deep breath, and let's show off the World Serpent.
Oh boy.
Do it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look at that go.
So cool.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so cool.
So when we were brainstorming Jomungandr, pretty much every single discussion I had with all the different departments all said that he needs to be massive. He's the World Serpent. He needs to do something that you just don't see in Smite. He needs to really show off the fact that he's going to be going around this battlefield and he can encompass the entire world, right?
So insane,
so
man. Oh, it's so
there
cool.
were a lot of technical difficulties to make sure this worked, but there was nothing else that we really wanted to do for this ultimate.
Yeah. Josh and his team are working
Question is like
on this ability mostly.
How much
I think at one point we had literally all of our
It
programmers
was literally
working
the
to make sure
entire
that we
gameplay
get
team
this right.
at one point
small
working
area
on this
CC for the most
ultimate
part.
Shout outs to
ability.
Nick and Ryan and Chaos as well for helping out.
Yeah.
Jordan too, for sure.
So yeah, and Jordan our lead. So there's a lot of things going on here.
So yeah, let's break
the
it down.
gameplay
please do.
functionality specifically here is it's a
This is
multi-hit
sick.
area.
Okay.
So he's gonna go. He's during that warm up is a long channel time where he can be damaged. Then he goes untargetable for the entire duration, so you can't hurt him during these arcs.
Sure.
And then you get 3 different targeting stages where you can deal damage, and you'll deal damage at the location he exits the ground, at the location
Do
he
some
enters the
drive-by
ground,
jump killings.
and then his body will fall, dealing reduced damage on the middle.
which is that
middle,
spline rectangular section you can see.
Okay,
So
yeah.
right there.
I mean, the body's got to go somewhere, right?
Yep.
So it kind of collapses in.
Exactly.
And crushes
wow,
you.
So it's
When he,
a lion
Measly
attack as
little
well.
god.
Yeah,
Like,
when
that's so cool.
Little
you're just getting
gods.
ready. I'm pretty sure that's in his voice lines
Oh,
too.
yeah, it is.
When you
Key
enter
part.
out of the ground and you exit as well, he does a knockaway. So any enemies in that area are going to be knocked away from the massive girth of Jomungandr.
3 CCs.
Okay.
And,
There is a
I
brief.
thought Tina left this
There is a
path.
brief collision volume there as well. You can't walk through that area while
Right.
he's
so he's
going into the
creating
ground.
small
Oh, wow,
areas.
that's
He
really
does
strong.
make brief walls even.
That's really strong. And the big thing is, I mean, how do you peel this? I mean, my man's is moving.
Oh, yeah.
And he is really schmoving around, and you've got no answer to it.
Moving.
Yeah, he's going to be doing this, and he can't even escape this ability. So he's got to fire all 3 shots. You won't be
Okay.
able to break out of this early. Jomungandr is locked into that move once he fires it. He also, on submerging back into the ground, leaves a short duration Toxic Cloud as well. So you can see one cloud is created there, another on the second fire, and then finally on the third.
Yeah, those are pretty short duration though.
Man, I really want to play him.
There.
Yep.
I just I'm imagining myself chilling in mid lane. I'm doing my thing, clearing my minions, Zeus detonating people left and right. And then this man is gonna come bounding out of the jungle at me, and I'm gonna be terrified.
Yeah.
I mean,
if it's his ult, at least you'll see it coming. If it's his 3, you might just get knocked straight up without even seeing it.
Yeah, there's nothing more terrifying than a Yorm coming at you from the sky.
So you're doing gold. You're rushing before he gets here. You see him coming, mother of God. It's instant.
I can see why
Really,
Pontius
we
was
wanted
a
to
jungler.
show off. We wanted to make Yorm really world serpent sized as best we could. So he's huge here. This ability is especially good for quick rotations, moving from lane to lane. It's pretty good at securing a kill if someone's at
so
very low
loud
health.
though. I wonder if
Although
he
it is quite
it.
jukeable.
Sure.
Yeah.
The amount of
you
time
gotta go pretty
have-
wide because the body's gonna come down and slam you too.
Yeah,
Sure.
but you do have a good bit of time. I mean, Fish and Pond, who we've been battling against a lot, have gotten pretty good at juking the ultimate for sure.
Yeah.
And as a Guardian, it's not necessarily super high damage if you only hit a part of it.
Right.
But it can be good for chasing down that person who's really low health.
Yeah, when you're entering back into the ground, there is a warning effect so that enemies know where you're going to be going. And the big important thing to mention in terms of his damage is that when he's entering into the ground, that's the most damage that he's going to be doing on that ability. So the
So if
arc
you juke the
damage and
enter,
yeah, exactly.
it's not
then
gonna
you're
do as much.
you're
Right.
dodging a lot of the damage. The emerge and the arc of his body crashing into the ground does less damage compared to the entrance back into the ground.
Gotcha. So where do you think that he'll be played the most? Is this a straight up dual lane guardian? I know Pond
He's
said
a pretty
been
flex guardian.
jungling.
Yeah.
I think this guy. I mean, with the auto attacks, those things hurt, man, and you could probably jungle clear pretty well. His ganks would be sick. He's a stealth guardian. I mean, I think that could be a real.
We
role for
have a
him.
lot of Guardians in Smite that can be pretty good junglers. So,
That's true.
That's not
But
outside
Jom-
the realm possibility at all. We
Jom
also
has,
have been testing him a good
more
bit in solo.
focused design
He
on
plays
that.
pretty
Yep,
well
yep.
there.
Yeah, so
but he's pretty good at peeling and helping clear in the duo lane. So the god does have a couple different applications. You can kind of choose which way you want to specialize him or which way you want to play him. He does lack a bit from just pure peel. He can't heal his teammates or shield them or CC immune, any of that. A lot of that he suffers from. So you have to build your comp around that. But he is flexible in that regard, and he has been really fun in all those spots. We did adjust his balance a little bit, make sure his scalings were a little on the lower end.
Well, he's got lots of scales, so
Of
He
course.
does have a lot of
It's
skills,
true.
right? But
Ouch.
obviously, with the basic
Why?
attack, the way he does have, we have to make sure that it's, he's going to be able to hit the wave pretty hard, but his power at the early ranks is going to be much lower than a normal Guardian to make sure that it's not just extremely overpowered. We're going to be constantly iterating on those numbers, as well as during PTS. We're going to need your guys' feedback to make sure he's in a good spot.
He's
Yeah,
a
it's,
very unique god, that's for sure.
Yes,
Just
definitely.
moving around with him feels so different than the rest of the game.
I can't wait to get my hands on him. We are waiting to go back in. We're going to take a listen to his voice pack and all that kind of good stuff. We have to show you his wave and clap because he has those.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's gotta be
Clap
wave
animation.
There was
in
a
particular.
I think there was a thread
And a
or I
bite.
got a message on Twitter
Yeah.
at least a few times asking how he's going to clap. Is he going to
Yeah.
smack his head into the ground? Well, I think
We
people are going
came
to be
up
happy.
with our animation team came up with something even better than all
Yeah.
of those.
Way
It's
better.
the most
hilarious.
creative solution.
So yeah, he is
It's
going to
so
have
good.
his recolor skin and his mastery skins.
Okay,
Are
right
all-
away.
I'm pretty sure those are all ready to go, so we'll
Oh,
be able to show
beautiful.
those. His voice pack you got a hint of in the trailer.
Yes.
His very deep, booming, rumbling voice.
Yes, indeed. So here we are on the jungle practice map, and he does fit underneath the archways, though it's a little close.
I specifically had to go test that. I remember he does clip through some trees and things when you get really close to walls.
Was
but-
that his laugh there?
Was that his laugh or?
Oh,
is it the
here we-
wave maybe?
Yeah, that's the wave. That's the
Ah,
wave.
the wave.
It's a little
His laugh,
shimmy for you.
turns down to the
There
left
we
side.
go.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
I need to
That's
hear his
cool.
voice for sure.
All right.
Oh,
Oh,
voice
lucky
back.
pawn. Okay, let's take a look. You have it, he says. Okay.
Oh, so maybe it's not working.
some of it
whatever.
might not be
It'll
hooked up,
be
but-
hopefully ready for PTS and all that kind
You
of stuff.
heard the voice
Apologies
in the
for
trailer.
that.
It sounds
Right.
like that.
But let's have a look at his wave.
There's the clap.
Oh, his claps.
Spits out a minion.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
that is
And the
brilliant.
minion claps.
I did
Why
that.
would the minion clap? He's being eaten. I don't know, but I love it. It looks so good.
Friends.
Yeah, they're buddies. Look-
Oh, nice.
You can
This
even
is
do
Pal
the little
Bill.
chomps.
Okay, that is
Yeah,
just
the-
that is
ever
just
so
way too
softly.
cool.
that is so. Animation team.
Okay,
A+.
whoever thought of that?
I love this little
hilarious.
throw catch.
Yeah, it's
Deserves
all game
a
design.
lot.
So well done.
He's ready to go.
Oh, there you can hear.
Of
You
good
can,
things in their
use
life.
his taunts you might hear.
Swords and magic. Why do you not fight with tooth and claw? Do fight your best. I always find prey to be so much more tender after a struggle. What's wrong? You don't look so well. Feeling a little full.
I didn't hear the joke because of the noise.
Favorite subject. History.
That's a good pun or two.
As always, we apologize for the jokes.
Yeah, we
have to do
are
them.
sorry.
We do our best.
The puns are necessary.
We're doing our best.
AJ just face palms.
I like the voice, but it's fitting.
We're doing our best. That's what matters. Just let it go. You know.
But
what
his
I mean?
voice and his character as a whole, I think, turned out really well.
Yep.
He's really cool.
Voice actor is Kellen Goff, who did a phenomenal job there.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yorm, 10 out of 10. I can't wait to just like right out of the ultimate. Like, you know I'm going to be saying that every time
Dummy
I'm dunking
pig,
it. Yeah, he's kind of dummy pig. That's the only way to describe it. I don't know what to say. We do have those recolors and mastery skins and all that kind of stuff. We can take a look at those pretty quickly here before we sign off so that you guys can just hype up Yorm among yourselves.
Yep, that's
there's
his mastery
the
card.
Golden.
Yeah, there's the golden one. Looking
That's-
so cool.
I'm just
man.
so glad
So
we were
awesome.
able to achieve this
Ooh,
feeling
wow.
of actually like battling against a thrashing sea serpent on
On
the
land.
battleground of the gods.
Right.
Yeah, it's it's
Yeah, I mean,
pretty amazing.
If you thought just seeing him in Conquest was cool, like when you play around an arena and you just see this massive
like
sea
bigger than the
serpent
pillars,
dragon
probably.
just like bounding across the entire, dome, it's pretty insane.
That is so cool.
It's
Ooh,
really
his breath
nice.
is golden.
Yeah.
That is awesome. There's the legendary skin as
so
well.
shiny.
Yeah, it looks
Very,
so
very
cool.
shiny.
Yeah, the cracks underneath
I'm always
the
a
ground.
fan of these.
legendary
Oh
skin
man,
is
that's
the way to go.
intimidating. If you thought he wasn't before.
I still only play, even though I have a diamond Fafnir, I still play legendary
Yeah.
every time just because the black dragon.
The black dragon is so super cool.
You still need a
without a doubt.
diamond with
and
black.
a diamond.
Oh,
yeah.
But this
we also
diamond
do
actually
have the
works really well
recolor,
with the
but
aquatic
Clumsy,
look.
do you know the name of the recolor?
it's Ouroboros.
Oh no, sure.
It's Ouroboros.
What do you
Okay.
think the chances are Pond can spell it right?
I mean,
Pon's
it
a
was
genius,
in
so
some
easy.
Yeah, I mean, it was in a
he's
couple
got
things
it.
like.
I think I
Pond
heard
all
him
the way down.
celebratory taunting or something, laughing in the background. Pond roaring.
Pond is ruined
Jorming.
because instead of like actually using his words, now as soon as he hears something, he just VGS's. You know, just immediately it's second nature to him.
He's a pro SMITE player. He can communicate through VGS.
It's true.
Yeah.
He really can. There's really not much you need to say outside of VGS. He got it.
I'm just glad we can finally show everybody how Jorm functions in the game and how he looks and moves instead of me having to use my arm in this weird position. To be like, see guys?
So then he's
right.
like this, and he just kind of moves along that way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we went for more of the classic teal green sea serpent color here on the recolor.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
recolor might
I
actually
love
be
the
better
card
than
art too.
diamond.
Just his little character portrait on the bottom
sure.
left. It looks so like
we
menacing.
only
and
saw the
cool.
diamond so
Just-
briefly, but
My man goes hard. I don't know. A lot like the Brooklyn Nets. Like they just
Oh my
they
God.
go hard. Jomungandr goes hard. Like what else could you ever want? You know. Shout outs to Ron Jobbert, I guess. Make sure you guys get ready for the PTS. All that information on when that's going up and all that good stuff will be on our social channels. So Smite Game on Twitter. That's the place to go to check that out. Clumsy, any closing tips for first-time Jomungandr players besides alt early and often?
Yeah, I mean,
looks cool?
it's more so for the people versing Jomungandr. You know, just be prepared. Don't be scared when he just starts bounding into your lane, destroying your face with toxins and just
I don't think
Don't
that's
be scared when you get
Don't
killed.
be
Cool.
scared.
If you pay attention to him, you can juke a lot of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
when you panic is when he'll capitalize.
That's when he gets you.
Yeah, that'll be me.
That's what he's waiting for.
The panicking one. Thank you guys so much for watching the World Serpent Update show. It has come to its close. Hope you guys enjoy Jomungandr. We'll be on Twitter and Reddit and all that kind of stuff, reading your feedback as always. But until then, you can peach it.
all right. And with that, thank you guys for watching. Sorry about the technical difficulties in between. I'm not sure what happened still. It's what it is. What? How's this happen? I paused this and on that screen it goes on. I still see the Georgia screen on that screen it goes. Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know what's happening. Anyways. What? I am so confused right now. It's just still taking the Twitch stream. Wow, that's so confusing. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about the technical part being so off. But also sorry about me being very tired. Like I said, I basically pulled an all-nighter last night because of my thesis, because I had to finish everything. And I haven't had sleep in like 30 plus hours at this point. I don't know. Must be like a little bit more, getting closer to 40. So yeah, I was trying to like stay up a little longer because I really wanted to see John. I cannot promise that I'll do a patch notes review. I'll try. I'll see if it comes up quickly. And if yes, I will do it. And if not, I will not do it. I will recap it tomorrow or something. And yeah, with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope this was fun to watch and you're as excited for the drama as I am. And see you for the next one tomorrow or today or the day after, depending on the circumstances. DukeSloth out.